Good morning. I'm Gary Mattson, and I'm with Mattson Financial Services. And today we're going to talk about Trump versus the Biden. And again, just a couple things to know is that this is for entertainment purposes only. As we talk about different things and go through scenarios, we encourage you not to do anything until you've met with a financial professional that has your best interest at heart. So with that that started, let's go right into it. So I'm Gary Mattson. Like I said, with me is Taylor Steward. We're both licensed Series 65, what makes us fiduciaries. And we're both licensed. We're also licensed in life, accident, health insurance. We're fiduciaries with Mattson Financial Services. We are a family firm. As you know, that Laurel, my daughter, is here also, and Taylor is my son-in-law. Now Taylor's been with us now
6 years.
6 years.
Yep.
Wow. And so he carries all the licenses, and with everybody here at the firm, we believe it strongly that everybody should get two advisors, one that understands them and one's a backup in case something happens with that advisor. And our goal is always to help individuals, families, and business owners with the retirement journey.
So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So remember, this is a webinar about politics, not a political webinar. So we're just here to simply give you the facts about what's going on in the political world today, what's going on, and what that's going to mean to your retirement moving forward. So let's discuss the agenda here. So we are going to be talking about the last 4 years and what that has done for retirees and future retirees, and even our heirs moving forward. We're going to talk about the next 4 years, what that means if it's a Trump win, what that means if Vice President Biden gets in office, and how that is going to affect our retirement moving forward. We're going to discuss a couple political scenarios, and then again, what that all means for you. What should we be structuring? How should we be going about retirement differently now than we have in the last 4 years, and what we'll be doing in the future? So we're going to be discussing all of those topics here today.
So we'll be examining taxes, the different scenarios, Social Security benefits, retirement accounts, healthcare, as well as estate. All of these areas in retirement are going to be affected by one of the other candidates.
So let's do a little recap here of the last 4 years under the Trump administration, and some of the accomplishments they've had here, especially on the tax front. So we've had the biggest gross tax cuts in American history, estimated to be $5.5 trillion over the next 10 years. We kept the deductions for retirement savings, and allowed retirees age 70 and a half and older to directly transfer up to $100,000 a year to qualified charities from their IRAs. This transfer counts towards the taxpayers' RMDs for the year, but isn't included in the taxpayers' adjusted gross income. And as we all know, with the Secure Act passing the first of this year, that RMD age is not 70 and a half any longer, it's 72 now.
But if you are 70 and a half and in the process, you still got to take it from that point of view.
Yep. Then we're going to talk about Trump and Social Security.
You know, Trump recently pitched the idea to actually cut Social Security contribution rates. You know, some see this as a gift to the working class Americans because they don't have to pay as much taxes, of course, and others see it as an effort to end Social Security and take away benefits for the elderly and disabled. As is, many believe Social Security will be depleted by 2035. Now, when I say depleted, that doesn't mean there's no money. It's only 75% of it funded.
And then Trump and 401ks here. So again, we touched on the Secure Act. It was a bipartisan bill that raised the RMD age to 72 and allowed Americans over the age of 70 and a half to make those IRA contributions. Also allowed penalty-free withdrawals for new parents. So you got a new little bundle of joy. You can take up to $10,000 from your retirement accounts. Too bad that didn't happen a couple years ago when we had ours. But and then also lets part-time workers participate in that 401k plan. But one notable change here is there are no more stretch RIAs, meaning non-spouse beneficiaries must withdraw all of the inherited account that they receive within 10 years, posing a bigger tax burden to them.
So let's look at Trump and healthcare. You know, he wants to privatize Medicare insurance for seniors. It's claiming it will actually create more affordable options and a better range of services offered on private plans. He does not support Medicare for all. Now, some claim Trump will put seniors at risk for higher medical costs and surprises while also restricting Medicare Advantage plans. You know, Trump allowed states to curtail Medicaid benefits and reduce number of people eligible for Medicaid. You know, states can now enact new work requirements. They can cut benefits. And what he really did was move this all down to the state level. He got the federal government out of it and actually put more power to the states. And that's what he's been talking about doing.
So Trump also doubled the estate tax exemption to pass wealth on to your heirs, which means you can give more money away with little or no taxes. So the next 4 years, if Trump is reelected, let's take a look at what that might look like.
And again, we're looking here at taxes, the potential extension of the Tax Cuts and Job Acts. And once again, the idea is that by lowering taxes, you stimulate the economy. Potential cuts to Social Security rates, which means, again, that fewer people would be paying into the system or less money into the system. And 401k benefits for retirees may continue and possible continue for market climb. In other words, what we're talking about here is if the market keeps going and people are putting more money in the 401k, that's going to keep the market stable and actually keep it going forward, rising. You know, you can expect to see Medicare privatized, which could mean more options but higher prices. Again, no Medicare for all. Medicare Advantage may be restricted and states have more power to decide who's eligible. In a state, the possibility for extension on estate tax exemption, but stretch areas are still gone. And we're going to talk about the numbers out there, but it's been a huge difference when it comes to estate tax.
So we've kind of covered what Trump's done in the last 4 years, what we think the next 4 years is going to look like. He's been pretty transparent with, you know, his thoughts, his beliefs on what that's going to look like. So let's dive in and see what it would look like if we have a Biden win for the next 4 years.
So looking at Joe Biden's record, now if you saw him on the town hall meeting last night, this does not include anything he said there because again, he's been moving some of his platform. So we've done, followed this on USA Today and Wall Street Journal and Fact Check. And so we see that he's going to increase estate taxes and reduce exemptions. He's going to increase tax on capital gains, talking about a 27% increase going from 0 on some cases 15 or maximum right now is 20 going up to 27%. We're going to increase the top individual tax rate. He talked about that being $400,000 and above, but keep this in mind. He said that a married couple making $75,000 is going to go from a 12% tax rate to a 25% tax rate. That's a 108% increase overnight. He's also going to increase corporate tax rates and increase payroll taxes. So he's doing this in an effort to actually have more benefits to be able to pay it out.
So let's talk a little bit more on the taxes. He's proposed several tax changes to help senior citizens and those who care for them. He plans to increase tax benefits for elderly who pay for long-term care insurance with their retirement savings, and will allow low-wage workers over 65 of age to claim the earned income tax credit.
So again, he's going to repeal the tax of what Trump has put in place, but he's offering other things for the elderly to be taken care of and tax deductions for that.
Let's take a look at Social Security. So he would also make all income subject to the Social Security payroll tax. It waives the above $132,900 are currently not subject to payroll tax. So if you make over that, it's all going to be subject to payroll tax moving forward, or Social Security tax, I'm sorry. Would create a $5,000 tax credit for informal caregivers, family members, or other loved ones providing long-term care to elderly. caregivers are also allowed to make up catch-up contributions to retirement accounts. Right now, as most of you know, you can only make those catch-up contributions if you're over the age of 50. Moving forward, as long as you're being a caregiver for the elderly or somebody in long-term care, you would have the availability to make that $1,000 catch-up.
And again, Joe Biden in 401ks, he's going to enhance tax breaks for low and middle income workers who are saving retirement. So again, if you're participating in that in your middle or low income, he's going to give you extra benefit to that. He's going to create tax credit for small businesses that offer retirement plans for their workers. So as you can see from Joe Biden's point of view, he really wants to encourage those that are small or low wage earners as well as middle income to increase the amount of money they're putting away for retirement. Now, US Today actually said Biden's tax rate on a family making $75,000 would go from 12% to 25% overnight. And again, that's a 108% increase. But Joe Biden did say when the middle class does well, everybody does very, very well. And we don't disagree with that at all. Now let's look at healthcare. He wants to improve Obamacare, actually extending it out, and wants to have Medicare for all. He would increase the credit amount based on the cost of gold level health plan, not the silver. The gold plan is actually more expensive, so even if you took the silver, you're going to get the credit as if you bought the gold plan. He's going to impose tax penalty on pharmaceutical companies that increase drug costs by more than the rate of inflation and take away advertising deductions. So he's really going to look at the pharmaceuticals and make sure that they're taking care of America and not overpricing medications that's important to us all.
So Joe Biden in the estate, and this is a big one because at Mattson Financial Services, we fully believe in having a legacy plan for you, your kids, and passing those dollars on along the way and making sure that you're achieving your dreams, goals, and desires. And this one kind of stood out to me when we were going through this presentation. Eliminate the step-up basis for inheritance capital assets. This means more tax on heirs. So maybe you got a family farm, maybe you had these stocks that have been in your family for a long time and they've been passed down for generations. You keep getting that step up in basis. Well, we had heard that he's going to be potentially jumping the capital gains rate from 0 to 15 to 20 to 15, 25, and who knows what that highest capital gains rate would be. And with the elimination of the step up in basis, that's forcing that tax upon those heirs that are going to be receiving those funds at a minimum of 25%.
And this is like Taylor said so well, is this is kind of an outstanding red flag to us, because if you're inheriting assets and you have the market go down, or you're having the real estate that you're inheriting, the market goes down and you're trying to just pay the tax, you're going to have to maybe get rid of that and take care of that. So one of the things we're looking at is how to handle this for our clients if this does come into place, and we'll talk about that with you on an individual basis. There is a plan in place that we can talk about.
So let's just talk about Joe Biden a little bit here. So he's been stated that he would like to keep the filibuster rule, but when it comes to the idea of packing the Supreme Court or adding additional justices, he has skirted the question, so that can be a little concerning. That doesn't mean he's necessarily for it or against it. Obviously, they think in their political best interest to not maybe answer that question right now.
And what he means by packing the court is that whether it's a Republican or a Democrat in office, they can present as many people as they want to the Senate to be on the U.S. Supreme Court. There's nothing in the Constitution that limits the numbers. So again, if you have President Trump getting his nominee through, and then we have a court that's going to the right, a way to offset that is to bring more nominees into the court. And so going from 9 justices, you might go to 11, 15, 12, whatever that number is. President Trump has come out and said he would not, but Biden has not said that he would or would not.
So let's discuss a couple political scenarios here.
Let's talk about scenario number 1. We have an eviction at 1600. If you don't know, that 1600 is the number for the White House. That's the address, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. If we have a White House that's Democratic, the Senate that's Republican, and a House that's Democratic, a similar change does not happen in any of the 4 times that one party's held just the House. So every incumbent with approval rating of 49% or higher has won re-election, while every candidate with a rating of 48% or lower has lost, according to 538. Now, in his first 4 years, Trump has not consistently risen above approval rating of 45%. So if you take this information and do historically, that means that Trump will not win. Now, we know that he is a fighter and very aggressive, and so we'll see what that really means in the polls when it gets done. Scenario number 2, we have a blue Washington. So here we have a White House Democrat, we have a Senate Democrat, and we have a House that's Democratic. Now, this has happened 2 of 4 times since 1900, resulting in a full Democratic control. Now, this is one that Wall Street will not like because, again, it's a major shift, and Wall Street likes continuity. Whether it's good or bad, they kind of like continuity going through and be able to forecast. If we have a total blue Washington, the gloves are off, and we're not sure what directions that would take the country.
Scenario number 3, the status quo. So keeping things as is. Trump stays in office, Senate stays Republican, and the House stays Democratic. The status quo was maintained 2 of 4 times, once with the party control as it is now, and once when the GOP had just the House.
And again, markets like status quo. They like the checks and balance of a Democratic Republic. They don't like it when it's all one party either way. So again, the market does like status quos and does like when we have returning presidents. So we like to have, the market likes to have presidents in for 2 full terms, 8 years, whether it's Democratic or Republic. That does very well from the market's point of view.
And then scenario number 4, a red revival. Trump staying in office, the Senate remaining Republican, maybe adding a few seats and then adding some seats to the House and making that Republican. A similar change has never happened. I skip forward here, not even under Ronald Reagan's administration. So this would be a huge political shift and very interesting if it does shake out that way.
And again, the markets won't like it.
Yep. So what's all of that mean for you in your retirement moving forward?
Well, history suggests we'll see a fully blue Washington next year, or things will stay the same as they are now. So are you looking forward to major change, or do you prefer the way the things are now? Here's some steps for you, what you should be doing. Review your goals. Where are you at right now, and what is your goal going forward? And review your current situation. If you're having assets there to take care of you, they're not in the market control, you're not going to have losses because you're taking income, that's a great thing to look at. Make sure you're on track. And again, before the end of the year, take advantage of any tax breaks that are now available. That could be sending your IRA money directly from the IRA to a charity to lower your taxes. That could be taking an IRA to Roth IRA contribution, that scenario, a change, as well as other tax breaks that are available for you. And we really suggest you sit down with an advisor, look at your particular scenario, and to take the next step. You want that to be a fiduciary that understands the tax laws and how they apply to you. So here's something we will let you do. If you'd like to, you can call the office at 800-536-8907 and get a complimentary Roth conversion review. So here we have 2 scenarios. We have an account with $750,000, an IRA account, a 25% tax bracket, annual pre-tax earning of 4%, and of course we're living to age 90. So as it is right now, we keep the qualified account going. So we're going to pay taxes as required minimum distributions at time withdrawals over age to 90. That's going to be about $209,089 in the current scenario. Taxes paid on reinvested RMDs, we take some of that money and reinvest it, and that's going to grow also. So we're going to have taxes of $69,980. And then when we pass, those dollars of the remaining account value in the IRA must be taxed. And again, remember, we have 10 years to pay that off. We can do that anything within the first year to 10 years to take that money out. But at the end of 10 years, it has to come out. No more stretch IRAs. So taxes on the remaining account value at death of $132,000. This means the total taxes paid over the lifetime, age 90, would be $400,000. Now, if we did a conversion to the Roth, now we're going to pay a lot of taxes right up front. So we're going to pay the taxes on the conversion of $187,500. That's a tough check to write. But we'll take no taxes on the growth of that account and no taxes on the remaining value. So we've limited our tax to $187,500. That's the way it is now. What happens if we have a change in the White House and taxes go up? It could be more damaging by keeping a qualified account over time. You might see $700,000 in taxes versus what you did this year at $187,500. But again, we encourage you, do not use this information to make any decisions. You should sit down with your advisor and a tax professional, excuse me, to go over those for you to make sure it's right for you and understand what those numbers are.
Yeah, and just a couple other things that Gary had kind of touched on, but we know that the tax rates are going to go up at some point, and they are set to sunset in the year 2025. So we want to take advantage of those tax rates now while we can, and also if we we've lost the stretch IRA provision, so that's also going to increase that tax burden to your heirs. So not only maybe has their income tax rate gone up, but now we're forcing that payout over the course of 10 years, not their lifetime. That's why it's so important to take a look at these Roth conversions if it's right for your plan on an annual basis. So left wing or right wing, there's only one person responsible for your retirement, the person in the mirror, and that came from the brilliant Dave Ramsey. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. And here, just again, want to go over our disclosures. This is just general information. We really encourage all of the people that's joined us today to sit down with that fiduciary advisor, get a complimentary review, and make sure that the things that we discussed today, any of the strategies, maybe that they're right for your plan, but sitting down and getting that full information.
So again, we want to, Taylor and I and everybody at Mattson Financial Services, not only thank you as our clients, but thank you for joining us today. And again, if you have any questions, you can go call us at 616-514-3831, or you can go onto the website and actually schedule a time with Taylor to answer those questions if you'd like to. So once again, we encourage you to do one thing only, no matter what, and that is vote.
Yep.
Get out there and vote either way. Encourage your family members to do the same thing. And we'll see what happens in November as the election draws to a close.
Thanks for coming.